Welcome back to Daytime. Well, when you think about your community, what words would you use to describe it? Would you say it's energetic? Would you say it's vibrant? A vibrant community? Well, what's that all about? We're going to find out right now with our next guest, who is Paul Bourne, who is the author of a couple of books, one of them Creating Vibrant Communities, the other Community Conversations. And we're going to talk a little bit about creating those vibrant communities because, Paul, you are also the co-founder of the Tamarack Institute for Community Engagement. This is all, I guess, all stems around the idea of bringing community together and maybe getting back to a day that's gone by where people knew what was happening in their community, people were engaged in what was happening in their community, and that sense of teamwork where everybody worked together.
Well, Susan, actually, the books were inspired by Waterloo Region, and the work that we're writing about started here. It started with a project called Opportunities 2000 back in 1996, and there was a couple of thousand of us actually that were together talking about what kind of a millennium gift can we leave. And here in Waterloo Region, when you do something, you do it big. And so we said, let's try to create the lowest level of poverty in the country here in Waterloo Region. And so we got together, we started talking about it, and we started to put together some ideas about how you might move a community, almost like a movement, toward a new way of thinking, of people working differently, of changing the way that they are. And that then inspired a national movement, which is now called Vibrant Communities, which is now in a dozen cities in Canada.
Well, 15 different cities, and as you mentioned, Waterloo Region is one of them, and really a lot of things that are happening here are driving this movement right across Canada.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you talk about that is really driving this, it gets down to that fine art of talking, doesn't it? Bringing people together, and people from all sorts of different places in the community and different areas of expertise, putting them together and saying, okay, now what can we do together?
Exactly. And you know, the two books are really a team, and I was writing both of them at the same time. The one, I was leading a team that was working on vibrant communities, and there were all the authors. We had about 1,500 pages of research, and we needed to sort of narrow it down. And so it's about 450 pages of really looking at the techniques and stories that the different communities across Canada use. But then Creating Vibrant Communities is something that I wrote as an accompaniment because people were asking me, so how do you do this? How then do you create a vibrant community? And of course, what I'm often saying is that they already are quite vibrant. And matter of fact, what we need to do is, it's really, a vibrant community is one that wants to be better than it currently is. And so I'm always saying that if you're going to hold these types of really big community conversations for social change, what you're really wanting to have is a community that actually thinks things are so bad that, you know, we got to change. Because if we don't change, right, it's just going to get worse. Or communities that are doing really, really well, like Waterloo Region, and then we're saying, but what's going on? This community is doing so well, and yet we still have so many people who are poor. You know, the environment still is sucking wind here, right? You know, and like we've got all these problems in this great economy, in these, you know, in this place where people really care about each other. So, you know, have we peaked? Is this the best that we can be? And if this is the best that we can be, it's not good enough. And so you start bringing people together and having that conversation together about what could we be? Why are there so many people that are poor? Why is the environment not doing well? And what's really key in these conversations is not just to bring you and me together, right, who might think quite alike,
right,
but it's to bring people who don't think alike into the same room and get them to start talking with each other. And sometimes, and most times, we've studied now 330 of these different processes that have happened in this country, in the United States. And for the most part, people talk between 18 and 24 months before they come up with a vision, right? And so what I've laid out in the book is sort of that process. Conversing. How do we start talking to each other? Engaging. That if you are in the conversation, there's a better chance that you're going to get involved in the solution. You're going to do the work.
Right.
Collaborating. How do we work together, particularly across sectors? Right? And then casting a vision. How do we work together to build the kind of vision that says, oh, well, we want to be a vibrant community, we want less poverty, we want to be safer, we want to have a better environment. Or Hamilton came up with this amazing vision, we want Hamilton to be the best place to raise a child.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. The work that you're doing in these communities, and ours included, has resulted in some very tangible work that's been done. And like you said, it's not a quick fix. It's not something that you sit down today and start implementing things tomorrow. But you're seeing the things that are happening and the spin-offs and the roll-offs, and things are happening as a result of these types of conversations that are happening in communities.
Absolutely. In the book Vibrant Communities, we use statistics that were back in 97, because we had to sort of have a cutoff point. But now, as of December 2008, that was 2007, now at 2008, we've impacted over 111,000 people living in poverty in Canada. And there's some really interesting concrete things. Sometimes it's as simple as, in Niagara region, in the Niagara Falls area, they're having a hard time getting workers. And yet in the Niagara region, St. Catharines area and around, there were a lot of people living in rural communities who couldn't get to those jobs. They tried to work with the bus service. They wouldn't do it. They said it wasn't cost efficient. So they worked with the hotel owners. They got private buses. They worked with community agents, identified the people, and soon 250 people are working. Simple things like that. Here in Waterloo Region, we identified that the Guaranteed Income Supplement, which is something that Canadians have said is really important, that seniors are not poor. And what we found out is a lot of the immigrant communities didn't know about the program. So here in Waterloo Region, what we did is we got together all the service agencies that worked with different immigrant populations, and we trained them. HRSDC gave us different forms, different colored forms. We started handing them out to all of the immigrant populations. Next thing you know, we signed up nearly 1,000 people who are now moved out of poverty. Simple thing, helping them get the information they need.
Well, it's really incredible, and all the stories and the successes that we're seeing are large and small. I remember going onto your website for Tamarack and looking, and one of the things that happened in this area happened at St. Mary's General Hospital, where they set up, it was essentially a mini farmer's market on Friday afternoons during the summer. And you think about that and you think, at the hospital? But of course, to have that fresh local produce for people to pick up in a healthcare facility when we're all promoting health and living healthy and doing that, and also environmentally it was good because people could access that area by walking, by biking, and picking up fresh local produce and take it home. Seems like a small thing, but really in the bigger picture was so much larger than that.
Susan, right now in Canada, there are literally hundreds of projects. So that would be just one of them. And that's what we're saying here, is that innovation isn't necessarily about that one big idea that's going to change everything, right? It's maybe the Obama effect, where he's sort of saying everybody's got to do something. And that's exactly what we're saying, is that in a community, it's not about one big idea. It's not about one big leader. It's not about a great agency doing great work. It's about everybody getting involved. And everybody saying, hey, if we want less poverty, it's about me. It's about the business owner saying, I've got to give young people an opportunity, right? It's about a government worker saying, this job is important, and everybody that comes to see me needs my help, right? And I'm really going to give my all. It's about agencies saying, we may have been doing that all along, but it's not working, and we got to admit it, and we got to change and do something else, you know?
Well, it's great to see that this work is coming in, and as you said, everybody has a hand to play, and a part to play in this. And it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter what age you are, it doesn't matter where you are in society, that you have a part to play in this. And it's exciting to hear that coming up next week on Tuesday, there's actually a workshop that's happening in this area that continues that conversation and is bringing together a number of different groups and peoples who will continue the conversation and keep talking about this and making the difference right here in Waterloo Region.
It's called Innovation and Sustainable Community Change. I'm doing it with my good friend Francis Wesley of Social Innovation Generation. Unfortunately, the workshop part, it's a full day, it's sold out. I mean, we said 100, that sold out in a day. We said 200, that sold out in 3 days. Now we're at nearly 300, and we said that's it, the hall can't take anymore. But at 4 o'clock, there's a book launch. For both of these books, you're going to be able to hear Dr. Ken Coates, the Dean of Arts from University of Waterloo, myself talking about the books, having a bit of a celebration, a bit of good food, and just a great time saying what a great community we are.
So people can stop by next Tuesday, and it's happening at St. George's Banquet Hall in Waterloo.
Yep.
Can stop by at 4 o'clock and meet Paul. And you said, unfortunately, it's sold out. I think that's a wonderful thing that it's completely sold out, because it just shows that this community truly is a vibrant community. People care, and they want to continue that caring and push it even further and truly make this a wonderful region to be part of.
But come to the book launch at 4 o'clock. That's not sold out.
Absolutely. And
Perfect.
meet Paul Bourne, author of Creating Vibrant Communities and Community Conversations, and you can pick up the books and meet Paul next Tuesday at 4 p.m. at St. George's Hall in Waterloo. A pleasure to meet you, sir.
Thank you very much.